Hello and welcome to Two Whole People. I'm your co-host Connor.
And I'm Kevin.
This is a show where we talk about software stuff and career stuff and self-improvement stuff. I feel like that's a lot of what we've talked about.
Yeah.
Anyway, why should you care about what we're talking about? I have a data science master's. I've been a data engineer, BI dev for about 4 or 5 years. I've been in the software space for about 8 years, and I've gotten a bachelor's in computer science at GCU with my friend Kevin here, which is where I met him.
Yeah.
Kevin, why do I care about you?
I don't know. It's probably because we're friends and stuff.
Professionally.
Right. So I work at a little startup. I'm the director of product development, which at a startup means literally nothing. Just means that I do all of the development and data engineering and analytics. So, yeah.
Awesome. So in this video, I'll be taking the position of the interviewer, and Kevin here is going to be taking the position of the interviewee, and I'm going to be talking through his day in the life on the job. So again, to start off, what was your title again?
I am the director of product development.
Director of product development.
Yes.
You're in a director role. And how old are you?
I am 26.
And you're in a director role.
I'm a director who doesn't know how old he is.
And how many employees that you have that work for you that are directly underneath you?
So directly underneath me, I've got 2 right now. So yeah, we did have a contracting team that I was in charge of that had another 5, but we have since been like, you're out of there. So we're looking into some other teams right now. But.
Perfect. All right. So that's kind of the picture of your role and what you do. And I'm going to ask you the same thing that you asked me when we did this the other way around.
Go watch that video. We're going to link it somewhere. If we knew how to do that.
It's going to be on our channel.
That's true.
So, or in the description if I remember to add it in there, but it probably won't be. When do you get up and what do you do as soon as you get up? Each day, weekday.
So on a weekday, I try to get up at 5 a.m., which is garbage. But so I get up and then I have a quick snack. I didn't realize how that sounded, but small snack. And then I go and I work out.
I prefer a slow snack, really. That's like my type of snack, a slow one. A meal, that's what I'm, yeah.
Yeah.
I prefer meals, but that's a quick snack.
Well, I mean, I need to eat before I work out or else I'm going to be grumpy.
That's true. Yeah, I do half of a protein shake and then I'm fine.
Yeah, I do a Slim Jim and a glass of orange juice.
So you work out in like a redneck trailer or something.
Do
I eat a Slim Jim and orange juice.
Slim Jim, a glass of orange juice.
It's very healthy.
And then I usually rock like a half an hour workout.
He lifts bales of hay over his head.
Marlboro Red cigarettes
in his overalls.
But yeah, and then after that, just kind of have a nice, calm, get ready for work process, and then have a nice breakfast. And then I head off to work. I get to work around 7 usually.
And do you work remote or do you go into the office or both?
So most of the time I'm in the office, but I do take the occasional day from home. Nice. Yeah.
I'm at home full time, baby.
Yeah. You would know this if you watched the previous video.
Yeah, I do miss people though, so that's nice. You get to actually talk to people, especially if you have people that work for you. I bet it's nice to see their faces.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah.
I hate them. I'm just kidding, by the way. I don't actually hate them. They're 2 very good friends of mine. They're gonna watch this and they're gonna troll me so hard.
They're gonna dislike. No, wait, there is no dislike. Yeah, dislike.
No, there's a dislike. It just doesn't show how many there are.
Oh, then don't dislike. Just like. Please.
We can see how many, so we know how much people hate us, but nobody else does.
Oh,
Yeah.
All right. That seems weird. Anyway, I love you, YouTube, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah.
We're posting there, so we'll follow your rules, even though they're strange. Anyway. All right, so you get to work.
Yep.
What's the first thing you do when you get to work? Do you have a stand-up that you have to be in, or?
So the first thing, so when I get to work, nobody else is there usually. Well, at least from my company. So we work in a building with a couple other companies. Like we're all kind of share an office space. So usually I'm the first one from my company that gets in. I make coffee for the guys.
For the boys?
Yeah, for the boys.
You get coffee for the boys.
And then usually I just sit down and I go over our Kanban. And I look because I'm in charge.
I don't like how you say Kanban, by the way. Kanban.
They're A's. They're A's.
I'm gonna eat me a Slam Jam and go on my Kanban.
It's a Kanban. Anyways,
it's fine.
I do that. I get on there. I make sure that everything's in the right spot based on what we do. We have it automated with GitHub, so a lot of that's done for me, which is pretty sweet. And then I make sure that the guys, because they have a separate one, because they're part of the data team, and then I'm usually just in charge of the dev team as well, so I do both. But the dev team is just me, so I don't really have to do a stand-up with that. For the guys, I check theirs, and then I usually check in with them when they get there. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Everything going good? We do our stand-ups literally standing up in the office. It's great. It takes maybe 2 minutes to do it. And then after that, my day is usually just pure chaos until I leave.
And the reasoning behind the chaos is, do you get calls from other teams or other business people to put out fires all day? Is that what?
Yeah. So the structure of our team is kind of weird. It's not how most software startups would be. Most software startups, you've got usually, like, let's say you have 5 employees. Usually 4 out of those 5 can write code. We're kind of the opposite. We've got like 8 employees, and we've got 2 that can actually write code. So it's me and myself and our CTO that write code, and I'm usually the one that people call on. So it's like,
that's kind of a humble brag there. I don't know if you caught that.
Yeah.
I'm
basically
he's the guy
the
to call. Yeah.
But
for some reason they all call me.
Yeah, for some reason. It's not that I'm the best, or maybe it is.
We'll just leave that up to the viewers. Dislike if
you think I'm the worst.
You think that's nonsense.
But yeah, so usually people will call me, like, I have my set things like in the sprint that I'm supposed to be working on, but most of my day is not spent doing that. Most of my day is usually answering questions about data polls, because we sell data reports to our customers. So getting quotes for that, pulling the data for that, setting up coupon codes, because I also run our Stripe account.
You do all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. So I have to set up coupon codes for whatever promotion we're running. Talking to my boss about, what strategically we want to do next. That's usually a daily conversation, because he's always changing his mind, which is fun. It's a wild ride.
That's what bosses do.
It is a startup, so we're constantly trying to find the product market fit.
Pivot.
Yeah, and we have kind of gotten a little bit of traction recently, so things have been extra crazy. So obviously we're doing a ton of work to try and maintain that and keep up momentum. But also I talk with our sales team all the time about, what feedback are they getting from customers on their demos? Like, is there anything specifically that people really hate, like that you're getting a lot? And then also our customer success manager will always share user feedback constantly in like 7 different emails. It's great. It's fun. It's fun having your notifications on all day. But I usually find some time to code in between all of that. We use Laravel, which is a PHP framework. It's great. It's fun. But it is PHP. So
Yeah, that wouldn't be my first choice, but you got to do what you got to do. If you like PHP,
If you like
slam
PHP,
the dislike button.
I hate PHP, but I actually really like Laravel, the framework, because it makes a lot of that really annoying stuff for web development, like not routing, but like
They got boilerplate stuff that just kind of handles everything.
Yeah. Like they have what's called Laravel Magic, so you can like leave out a lot of the parameters if you do things in the right order and you structure your tables the right way. Like it will severely cut down on the time you're spending actually developing.
Nice.
But one thing that sucks about that is if you don't document your code, so this is a lesson, write comments, and you come back like a year later when they change something, and you're like, why did I write this way? Why did I leave out all these parameters?
Yeah, it's because of Laravel.
Yeah. But yeah,
it's
it's fun.
because you didn't have to.
Yeah.
Nice. I kind of wanted to ask for those people out there who think being a boss is all that, and their boss is just a jerk, and they get to do whatever they want. How do you handle some of the downsides? Like if you were kind of talking about how your company tends to pivot a lot, which is what a company should do if they are trying to become more successful, or they haven't really snagged a solid portion of the market that they want to get yet. If the business decides to kind of do a major pivot, and they tell you about it, and how does that conversation go? One, with them, with the people that are either above or adjacent to you, and then how does that conversation go with the people that work for you? If you have to maybe tell them, hey, you know that work that you've been doing the past few weeks, that's now completely pointless. We're going to shift and do this. How do both of those talks go?
Those are always fun conversations. So people at work have gotten a little more wary of of those conversations, at least the people adjacent and above me, because I tend to think, I don't know if you do the same thing, but I tend to think 10 steps ahead as far as like the application and scalability and all of these things. So when we pivot, my first thought is, well, like, how are we going to scale that? Like where are we going to put all that data? Like, why would you do it that way? So I obviously come off as a pessimist, but the truth is I'm just thinking ahead. So those conversations are usually a bit rough because obviously those people are doing it for a reason. So they don't take my criticism as well, especially the way that I put it. I tend to be rather harsh.
Blunt.
But the reason that I do that is because I do like to stick up for the guys on my team. And I'm like, hey, we just invested this much time into this project. Are you telling me that that's worthless now? And like, what are they supposed to do now? How are we supposed to recover? How are we supposed to do that? So I try and keep our development resources and our time as a data team in mind in all of those conversations. So that way I can, when I do have to go talk to them and tell them, hey, we're doing this now. It's terrible. I know, I understand. Like, I can do it with like the kind of attitude of like, hey, I did what I could, but this is the situation that we're in right now. This is what we have to do. And that's usually how I do
company
it.
As a whole. And
and I always try and at least with my boss, he's usually the one making the pivot decisions. So he'll usually talk to me separately of like, hey, here's why we're doing this. So that way I can kind of relay to the guys like, hey, this is like why we're doing it, and this is why it's good for the company, and like here's like the big picture, which definitely helps when you're talking to somebody, like giving them a reason why they have to do something rather than just be like, do this right now. I've learned that giving them the reason and actually being a team and saying like, hey, we're all on the same team here. Here's what we need to do in order to make our team successful. So yeah, but also being extremely honest about stuff and if it sucks and why it sucks.
Yep, that's important because you can't hide the nasty stuff.
Yeah,
it comes out eventually, and then it's always worse if it comes out later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's usually Those are probably the harder conversations because, I mean, we're a startup. We pivot all the time and we just drop projects because more important ones come by.
Yep.
That we have to just jump on.
Got to do what the business wants because
Yep.
they're making money and they are the reason why you have jobs in the first place. So,
Debatable.
yeah, that's true. The chicken or the egg,
Yeah.
you know, that's kind of a.
It's debatable. I think it varies company.
It's a
company.
it's a mixture. It's a mixture.
I don't know about that.
Well, pivoting from that, I think to wrap up here, I wanted to ask you about because when I'm on the job, there are times where they might be thinking that we know everything and that we're perfect and that we know all the coding things and we're just geniuses. But there's plenty of times on the job where I feel as if, or where I run into a concept, or I have to use a new tool or a software or something, or even a new abstract concept like a data warehouse. Like, what is that? How do I make an ETL pipeline? Like how do I? When I run into certain things like that, I kind of have all right, I have a methodology. I have people I talk to. I have things I search. When you run into a concept or a tool or something that you have no idea how the heck to work with, what's your process for learning the new knowledge that you need to learn to do your job?
That's actually a really good question. So,
Thank you. I came up with it myself.
I have a section. We have this note-taking kind of place where we put all of our documentation and stuff. It's called Notion, and you can make a private section. So what I do is I go in there, and any concept that I want to learn or implement into that I don't know how to use or that I don't know that much about, but I want to implement into our tech stack or that I think would be a good application for something that we're trying to do, I write it down in there, and I usually link the documentation or to a tutorial or to something. And then usually I try and do it every Friday. I go back to that and I pick the one off the top or the one that's most pertinent to what I'm working on. And I just spend a solid portion of the day going through that. And usually I try and stick as much to the documentation of the tool that I'm using. So the last one I did was Apache Spark. I did PySpark. So I went to their website, installed it, and use that in order to do some data extraction and transformation stuff. But yeah, so the best tool is, this is what the CTO at our company always says, is he says the best tool in a developer's tool bag is the ability to Google well. So
I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, so just learning hey, how do I do this in PySpark? Getting the terminology down is huge.
Yeah, it's not what you know. It's the fact that you can know anything. You need to be able to learn anything.
Yep. That's basically what it is. Yeah.
That sounds kind of crazy, but yeah, it's no, you got to go and figure this out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've also been just trying to up my development game. I've been doing, have you heard of LeetCode?
Yeah. That's it's like a training site.
Yeah.
Where they'll give you a programming challenge, and they have it for tons of languages and tons of concepts, right?
Yeah. So I've been doing that every Friday as well, running.
Yeah. And it's free. So if you want to use LeetCode, I think is what you said. There's also
HackerRank.
That's a really good one too, especially for data science, data stuff.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. But
SQL,
those two are good and they're free.
For my interview prep, I used HackerRank SQL training.
Yeah, it's really good.
But yeah, so usually, so that's how I approach those problems usually. And it happens all the time, especially and I mean, I don't always just do it on Fridays because sometimes it's hey, we need to implement this and we need to do it now. That happened we implemented Elasticsearch. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Mm-hmm. That's AWS, right? That's
they just forked it. It used to be AWS, but AWS now is OpenSearch. Elastic is its own thing.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Elasticsearch, we implemented that in our code base at the beginning of this year, and it was kind of just all right, I know nothing about it.
Yep.
But we're going to give it a shot.
Time to do some Googling, goggling.
But yeah, so now, I mean, obviously, if you have no idea what you're doing, you're going to write some bugs, some inefficient code, some So I've had to go back a few times, but I will say, taking a tool that you know nothing about and then implementing it into a production environment, like by the end, is one of the most rewarding things, I think.
Yeah, and then it works.
Yeah, and then it works, and people are like, "Man, this is really cool." Because we did get a few of those comments of like, "Hey, this is really fast. This is really cool."
Yeah. Last week I didn't know how to use it.
Yeah. I didn't say that because I wanted to sound cool, but like the CTO definitely
quick.
knew. Like, he's like, yeah, he didn't know what he was doing. Like literally 3 days ago. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for your time here, Mr. Kevin.
You're welcome. I have a very, very busy schedule.
We would love to have you back on the show if you're ever free, but I know you're a very busy man. You're a director of
yeah.
such and such. So
Yeah, I'm basically a doctor just like you.
yeah,
Call back to that
I'm
last
a
episode.
Yeah, I call back to the last. Well, no, I'm not a doctor. I'm as important as a doctor.
Yeah.
I don't have a doctorate. I'm a master. I don't
He's
know.
a master.
I don't know if I can ask anyone to
You're
call me a
basically
master,
Yoda, so
though. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. If you liked it,
Like it.
dislike. If you didn't like it, like it. Do what you want.
Yeah.
Put some comments. If there's anything you would like us to talk about,
Yeah.
then add some comments and tell us what you want us to talk about. We can get more in depth on all the technical stuff too. We haven't really done that too much yet.
Yeah.
But we can.
That would actually be a fun video. Write in the comments if you guys care. But I think going through a little code tutorial kind of deal of something that we do
We could
would
do it.
be kind of fun.
We could do it.
Sounds fun to
Whatever
me.
all four of you want to watch.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Cool.
With that,
Goodbye.